Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a book haul. My first book haul that I'm doing for the year 2022, and I feel like I have quite a bit of books to talk about today, so I'm going to try to make this a very cozy book haul. I invite you to grab a hot beverage, sit back and relax, and let's haul some books together. I'm going to try to kind of divide this book haul by genre. Like I have quite a variety here, so I might lump some genres together, but I know I have a lot of fantasy books to talk about, so let's just go ahead and start with those. The first fantasy book I have to talk about is one that I've already read, and that is Reaper Man by Terry Pratchett, the second book in the Discworld Death Collection. I absolutely love collecting these editions of the Discworld books. I think that they are so stunning. This one is where we are following the character of Death as he finds out that he has his own death that is coming up, and he decides to stop doing the whole death business and go and live the remainder of his life as a farmer. And it is very interesting. It's an interesting story. I thought it was a little bit of a chaotic story, especially the end, but I love Death as a character so much, and I just love Terry Pratchett's writing style and humor so much that I still ended up really enjoying this. So I'm excited to be continuing on with this series. The next book I have to talk about is The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek. So this is a reimagining of Norse mythology where we are following a witch who falls in love with Loki and hearing her side of the story. And I just adore Loki as a character so much. Admittedly, I really only know Loki from the Marvel shows, which is probably not at all the version of Loki we get in actual Norse mythology. I just love his personality so much and love that he's the trickster god. So I've definitely been wanting to get into more mythology retellings in general. I'm very excited to be getting to this one, and I think the cover is absolutely stunning. The next book I have is a sequel, and it is Heir of Novrin by Michael J. Sullivan. This is the third and final bind up of the last two books in the Rhaeria Revelations series, and I have only read Theft of Swords so far, which is the first two books in the series. However, I knew that I was going to absolutely love and want to finish that whole series, so I went ahead and grabbed the third book. It is a fun, lighthearted yet also just epic fantasy that has very like classic feeling fantasy vibes, but the characters in them of Hadrian and Royce are just so lovable, and their friendship is so fantastic that it just makes it so refreshing, and I love it. I love it so much. So I'm very excited to be continuing on with this series. We also have Rise of the Ranger by Philip C. Cointrell. So this is a self-published book that I actually had bought for Alan over at the Library of Alexandria. He was interested in reading this one, and I got it for him as a gift, and they accidentally sent me an additional copy. So I was like very excited because I've heard Patrick over from Patrick Leo, he just recently read this book and really enjoyed it and is continuing on with this series and has made me so interested. So I'm so glad that I have this book now and hopefully get into this series, because now after hearing great things, I'm really excited about it. The next book I have is another sequel, and that is The Bone Shard Emperor by Andrea Stewart. I actually bought the sequel to The Bone Shard Daughter before even reading that one because I just had a feeling after hearing especially Elle over at Elliot Brooks, hearing her describe that book and then having her recommend it to me, I just knew I was going to love it. And I did. I gave it 5 stars, and now I'm so excited to continue on with this series. I've heard that the second book is just as good as the first. I just am so intrigued by this whole world. There's a lot of mysteries going on, a lot of answers that we are still awaiting. So I am really excited to continue on with this series. If you like really unique world building, if you like hard magic, if you like animal companions, I think that this is a series that you're going to adore. The next one I have to talk about is Sister Song by Lucy Holland. This is another mythology retelling. It says, in the ancient kingdom of Dumnia, there is old magic to be found in the whisper of the wind, the roots of the trees, and the curl of the grass. I've heard really great things about this book, and again, I really would like to get more into mythology retellings in general, so this is another one that fits that category, and I'm really looking forward to reading it for myself. The next book I have is one that I have already read as well, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. This was one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and I do talk about it in my February wrap-up video that I will link down below if you want to hear my detailed thoughts. Unfortunately, this didn't work quite as well for me as I was hoping it would. It left me a little bit disappointed. However, I still think that this really is a great debut. A lot of people have been loving this, so definitely check it out for yourself. See if you will really enjoy it. It is a Chinese mythology retelling, and it's really beautifully written. Staying on the anticipated releases train, we have House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas, another one that I was really looking forward to reading this year. This is the sequel, of course, to A House of Earth and Blood, and that series, you know, I wasn't sold on it at the very beginning. When I first started that book, I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. I'm not a huge fan of urban fantasy in general. However, by the halfway point, I was completely won over by the characters, and just that ending is heartbreaking. Oh my goodness, the ending to the first book in this series left me in tears, so I am really looking forward to picking up where we left off from the first one, hopefully loving this sequel as much as I loved the ending to that first book. Another anticipated release for me is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes. This was so kindly sent to me by the publisher, so thank you so much to Nightfire Publishing for sending me this. This one is pitched as Titanic meets The Shining. It is a ghost spaceship that's being haunted. I'm like so in. That sounds amazing. It's like sci-fi horror. Say no more. You sold me at Titanic meets The Shining. Really, that's all I needed. So I am really looking forward to getting to this one. It is on this month's TBR, so hopefully I will have a review up for this one very soon. And then another really anticipated release for me was Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse, and I got an ARC! I'm freaking out because Black Sun made my all-time favorite fantasy list when I read it in 2020, and I still can't stop thinking about that book. Oh my goodness, and that ending, definitely need to address the ending. So I have been awaiting this sequel since 2020, early 2020, and I can't believe it's here. I again hopefully will have this read very soon and can tell you all my thoughts on it, but this is one that was very highly anticipated for me. I can't wait. It is really cool, unique world building, fantastic characters. The pacing for that first one, you just can't put the book down. It has one of the most intriguing first chapters of any book I've read. Oh, just fantastic. So I'm so excited. Another ARC that was so kindly sent to me by the publishers over at Mira is Light Years from Home by Mike Chen. I recently saw this on an anticipated release video and was instantly intrigued. It is apparently this touching sci-fi drama that plays with extraterrestrials, but it's very like lighthearted and sweet. It just sounds so fantastic. It says, every family has issues. Most can't blame them on extraterrestrials. The perfect combination of action, imagination, and heart, Light Years from Home is a touching drama about a challenge as difficult as saving the galaxy, making peace with your family and yourself. So I think this is very like soft sci-fi, but I love that. I love that. I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this, so I can't wait to get to this one, and hopefully we'll be getting to it very soon. All right, a couple more fantasies. We're almost to the end of this section. We have Age of Swords and Age of War by Michael J. Sullivan, the second and third book in the Legends of the First Empire series. And I read Age of Myth last month. I absolutely loved it. It's in the same world as the Ryrie of Revelations books, so I love that world so much already. But these characters in this series have my heart won over. I love them so much, so I'm really excited to continue on. I've already started Age of Swords. I am already loving it, so I can just tell that this might be an all-time favorite fantasy series by the time I reach the end. I'm really hoping so, because it is so far so good. The last adult fantasy book I have was so kindly sent to me by Angry Robot. It is The Coward by Stephen Aryan. So this one is this author's newest series that he's released, and the second book in this series is coming out soon this year. So I was so kindly sent the first book in anticipation for that sequel, and I can't wait to get to this. It says, "Who will slay the evil in the frozen north, saving all from death and destruction? Not Calcressia. He's done his part." So I love that kind of stuff. The legendary hero who's like, I'm over it, I'm past that, have a new life now. That is a trope that is so fun to play with, so I'm really excited to check this out. I also have Battle Mage by this author, but I might go ahead and read this one because I know that it's a totally new series, and with that second book coming out, I would really love to get to it, like right kind of when it releases, so definitely want to prioritize this one and read it very soon. Before we move into the other genres, let's talk middle grade fantasy. I do want to start reading more middle grade books this year. I would love to start building up that middle grade collection to pass down to the kids one day. So a couple of middle grade books that I have gotten since the last haul is first The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This one, when I talked about wanting to read more middle grade, this one was the most recommended book in the comments. Everyone seems to absolutely adore this book. So when I saw it at my local bookstore, I could not pass it up. I had to pick it up, and I have to see what all the hype is about. All it says is there's magic and starlight, of course. This is well known. Moonlight, however, that is a different story. Moonlight is magic. Ask anyone you like. So I think that this is going to be beautifully written. It's probably going to deal with beautiful themes, and just with all of the hype it has, I want to find out what all of that is about. The next one I have is like the most popular middle grade. Like if I'm going to get into middle grade, I feel like I have to read this series, and it's The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I never read Percy Jackson growing up. That was something that I like totally missed out on. So I need to correct that, and I need to get to Percy Jackson this year. I would love to collect this whole series and get in on the hype with this series. I hope I love it as much as everyone else seems to. I know that this is playing with Greek mythology. I know that Percy Jackson is the son, I believe, of Poseidon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do I need to say any more? I just need to find out what all the hype is about. The next one I got was Wondersmith by Jessica Townsend. I have not yet read Nevermore by Jessica Townsend, but I will probably be reading it for a video experiment quite soon. And I know that I'm gonna love it. Like I know there's not a doubt in my mind. With the things that everyone says, I don't think I've seen anyone say a bad thing about Nevermore. Everyone seems to absolutely love it. So I just know in my mind, in my heart of hearts, that I am going to adore it. And I picked up the sequel. I saw it at my local used bookstore, and I just picked it up. When I finish that first book, I'm gonna be thanking myself that I went ahead and got the second one. I know I am. And then finally, Xenia so kindly gifted me Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Thank you so much, Xenia, for this gift. Oh my goodness, this was another one that was absolutely top of the priority list for my middle grade TBR because everyone loves it. I'm, again, kind of like Nevermore, I've never seen a bad thing said by Amari and the Night Brothers. You all love it. I want to join in on the Amari love. This is definitely like highest of the priorities on my middle grade TBR. I'm so excited to get to it. And this cover is so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. All right, let's chat classics real quick because I don't have very many of them. So the first one is a more modern classic, and it is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. To be honest with you all, I really don't know what this is about. I feel kind of bad. I know that I've heard of it a lot. I think that there's a movie. I think the movie's good. Correct me if I'm wrong. It says it is one of the funniest books ever written, a keystone work in American literature, and even added a new term to the dictionary. So yeah, I feel like I should probably read this. Another classic, I don't know if you consider this a classic. It's sort of classic, I guess. I don't know, right? Death on the Nile by Agatha Christie. If it's not, it's mystery, whatever. I wanted to read this. My husband read it and loved it and wanted me to read it before we went and saw the movie for this book. And this was so much fun. I've already read it. And guess what? I never do this. I've already told you all in so many past videos that I am the absolute worst at guessing twists. I'm so bad at it. I guessed from the first like 20-30 pages, I guessed the ending. I didn't guess exactly how it played out, but I guessed like who done it, and I'm so proud of myself. So I feel like this couldn't get like a full 5 stars because like I guessed it, but I still really enjoyed this one, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they adapted it to the big screen. I also picked up a couple more Barnes & Noble collectible editions, like the ones I have on my shelf back here, and that is Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. I have seen like the movie adaptations, I've been on the ride at Disney, like I feel like I should just read the book. I know kind of the gist of the story. These explorers go looking for the center of the earth and find like this fantastical world, I think, if I remember the movie correctly. It seems like it's going to be a fun time. So I'm excited to get to this one, and I love this edition. Then we have this big old book, The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas. And I am so incredibly intimidated by this, but I've heard the people who have read it have loved it. I'm just so intimidated by it. It's very, very big. It's very big, and it has very, very teeny tiny font. So, you know, I don't know when I'm going to get to this. It's over 1,000 pages with like the teeniest little font I've ever seen. So, you know, maybe this is one that like next year I can like knock out, maybe every month, like do 200 pages or something like that. I don't know. But eventually I really would like to read Count of Monte Cristo. It's just very large, so it might not be this year. The next genre that I'm going to go through is my thrillers / mysteries / horrors. I'm going to bundle all of those together. So let's start with Big Lies in a Small Town by Diane Chamberlain. I read The Dream Daughter by this author, and I loved that book. It made my favorites of last year, and I know that this book doesn't sound anything like The Dream Daughter. It says it's a novel of chilling intrigue, a decades-old disappearance, and one woman's quest to find the truth. So it sounds like it's kind of dual timelines, and the character in the more modern timeline is trying to figure out what happened to this character in the past. But then you're like seeing the character in the past. I love those dual timeline stories, so I'm very intrigued by this one, and I loved The Dream Daughter so much that I want to keep reading from this author to see if maybe she will become a favorite for me. So hoping that I love this one. Also have The Invited by Jennifer McMahon. So I've heard a lot of great things about Jennifer McMahon. I know she writes horror, and this one is a haunted house story, which is my personal favorite type of horror to read. I love haunted house stories. This one says it's a chilling ghost story with a twist. It's in the woods of Vermont to tell the story of a husband and wife who don't simply move into a haunted house, they build one. say no more. I'm already intrigued. I have been wanting to check out this author for a while after hearing so many good things, and I haven't necessarily seen a ton of people talk about this one in particular, but just because it's a haunted house and I saw it at my local used bookstore, this is the one I wanted to pick up. I also grabbed The Perfect Stranger by Megan Miranda. I read All the Missing Girls by this author last year, and I really enjoyed that one. It was told in reverse order, which was fascinating, and I loved how it all came together at the end. So another case of me wanting to read more from this author to see if I really vibe with her writing style and to see if maybe she will become a favorite for me. So I'm really excited for this one. I don't know too much about it. Everyone in this town has something to hide. It sounds kind of similar in tone to All the Missing Girls, like if it's small town mystery, but yeah, very, very excited for this one. Another author that I've read from before, that's Harlan Coben. I picked up The Boy from the Woods, and I read Runaway in January, and it was my favorite book of the month. It was amazing. Such a good book. I loved that book. So I'm really, really excited to check out more of this author's works. Again, this is not one that I know a ton about. I'm going off of the author's name on the front. It says, a man whose past is shrouded in mystery must find a teenage girl before her disappearance brings about disastrous consequences for her community and the world beyond. Fantastic. It sounds kind of similar in tone then to Runaway. So I'm just so excited to see if Harlan Coben is going to become another favorite author. And then another auto by author. This one I know she's already a favorite author, and this was her newest release from last year that I haven't gotten a chance to read yet, and that is Jane Harper, The Survivors. So Jane Harper, I've read all of her books so far, and I love all of them. The Dry is my favorite one, but I've enjoyed all of them. I love her character work. I love the way she writes the settings of her books. She makes you really feel like you're there with the characters. And I just love her mysteries. I never guess how they're gonna end. So I'm really excited for this one. Again, don't know much about it. Really don't want to know too much. I like going into thrillers relatively blind. This one I'm really looking forward to. This is an author I have not read from before. It is The Plot by Jean Hanff Korelitz. So I saw one person talk about this book, and I don't remember who it was now, but they loved it. I remember them loving it, and I don't know too much about this book, but I think it follows this main character who was like once a promising young novelist and is now like hardly making ends meet, and then a student like pitches the story to him, and he ends up like I think stealing the story from his student or something like that, and consequences happen, and I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. I don't really know much more about it, but the way people were talking about it, they made it sound really, really good. So we will see if I enjoy this one. Another one I've heard a lot about is The Last House on Needless Street by Katrina Ward. This is another one that sounded very spooky, ghostly, which I love. I think that this is more slow burn. It says, boarded up house on a dead-end street at the edge of the wild Washington woods lives a family of 3. Ooh. A teenage girl, a man who drinks alone, and a house cat. Unspeakable secrets bind them together, but when a new neighbor moves in next door, what is buried may come back to haunt them all. Very curious about this one. I've heard a lot of buzz around it, and I know that this author is also releasing a new book this year that also sounds very good, Sundial, I think that one's called. So I just wanted to check it out and see what all the hype was about. Also grabbed The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This one was on like one of the most popular Goodreads book lists of last year or something like that. Like a ton of people were reading this and enjoying it. It has good ratings. I don't know anything about thrillers. If I like see good hype around them and I see people talking about them in a positive way, I'm gonna put them on my list. And when I see them at my used bookstore, I'll just grab them. So that's the case with this one. I saw it used on sale and I picked it up. So hopefully I enjoy it. Here's one where this is an author that I've really, really enjoyed so far and just want to keep reading more. And it is Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, another haunted house, which I'm really excited about. It says bells that ring themselves, record players that turn on and play music to empty rooms, ghosts that climb out of wardrobes. Ooh, so creepy. So I'm really excited about this one. I really enjoyed both of Riley Sager's books I've read. I've read Final Girls and The Last Time I Lied, and I really enjoyed both of them. So hopefully I love this one. If it's a haunted house, I feel like I will. We also have My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. This is another one I saw used on sale, and I grabbed it because it says that it is Dexter meets Mr. and Mrs. Smith. I love Dexter, and I think that this is about a wife who likes killing people for fun, and her husband helps her do it. And I think that that sounds so twisted and disturbing. I love Dexter, and if this gives me Dexter vibes, I feel like I'm gonna love it. So really looking forward to this one. And then the last one I have is one that was so kindly sent to me by Berkeley Publishing, and that is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James, one of my most anticipated books of the entire year. If you want to see the list of my most anticipated releases, I'm gonna link that video down below. I have loved Simone St. James's previous books. I've read The Sundown Motel, loved that one. The Broken Girls, I enjoyed that one. I didn't love it quite as much as The Sundown Motel, but I feel like this one is going to give me Sundown Motel vibes. It sounds like it's got that paranormal aspect that I love. It sounds like it's got the dual timelines that I love. I love her writing. I love the way she weaves the two timelines together. So I'm so excited for this one. I'm definitely going to be prioritizing this one very soon, so you can keep a lookout for a review for this. Hopefully coming next month. I'm going to say next month. We will see. All right, we're almost done. I'm going to just talk about contemporaries, romances, kind of everything else in this last section of the haul. The first book we have is The Final Revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. This one I saw on Life is Monet's channel. She said that if you like Daisy Jones and the Six, then you'll enjoy this one. I love Daisy Jones and the Six, so I immediately went and grabbed this. It sounds like it's told in a very similar interview style format, just like Daisy Jones and the Six was, but this sounds like it follows this young woman pushing against the grain in her style and attitude. She is a black punk artist before her time. She's coming of age in Detroit, and I think she gets picked up by this Neville Charles, like British singer-songwriter guy, takes her under his wing, and it's, I think, following like the rise of them as a duet. So I'm really curious about this. I love like this time period of music is one of my favorites to listen to. So I just feel like I'm going to really enjoy the time period that this is exploring. The writing style, again, like if it's anything like Daisy Jones, I feel like I'm going to adore this. We also have A Ladder to the Sky by John Boyne. I read The Heart's Invisible Furies by the same author, and it is one of my all-time favorite books. I love that book so much, and I don't know anything about this except that it's written by John Boyne, and that was enough for me to pick it up. It says that it is a seductive, unputdownable psychodrama. What? Following one brilliant, ruthless man who will stop at nothing in his pursuit of success. What? This is a psychodrama? That sounds intense. Well, I'm really looking forward to it because I love The Heart's Invisible Furies so much. The characters, the writing style was amazing, so I trust this author. I trust that this is going to be good. I just have a book I haven't heard too much about, and it was released a couple years ago, and I just remember adding it because it sounded good, and then I didn't really see much about it. It's Ask Again Yes by Mary Beth Keane. So I know that this is more of a contemporary that is about these two neighboring families in a suburban town, the bond between their children, and a tragedy that reverberates over 4 decades. So this kind of gives me like Little Fires Everywhere vibes, which I love that book. So if it's kind of similar in tone and themes to that, I feel like I'm gonna love it. I kind of love like messy family dramas. I really enjoy those kinds of books and exploring like those family dynamics, those characters, and those types of books. I don't know. So I feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this one. Xenia also not only gifted me Amari and the Night Brothers, but she also so kindly gifted me Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is a romance novel that is taking the community by storm. I feel like everyone loves the Brown Sisters series. I feel like everyone kind of has a different favorite book in that series. So I just want to, again, get in on the hype, get in on the love. I've heard great things. Feel like I'm gonna really enjoy this. It sounds really cute. Chloe Brown apparently makes this bucket list of things that she wants to do. So I'm really excited for this one. I also have The Last Train to Key West by Chanel Clayton, and I'm really wanting to read her books. They are historical fictions that kind of take place in different times and places, and each one of them sound so fascinating to me. This one says it's in 1935 about 3 women who are forever changed when one of the most powerful hurricanes in history barrels towards the Florida Keys. I have never really read historical fiction in that time period and in this setting, so very excited to get into this author's books and hopefully love her writing. We also have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I've read The Mothers by Britt Bennett and I really enjoyed that one. I thought the character work was really well done in that book, and I've heard that this one is so fantastic. Everyone seems to love this one. It's about 2 sisters who are white passing, and one of them decides to live their life as a white woman and one of them decides to live their life as a black woman, and it kind of explores like the different ways they are treated throughout their lives given those experiences. So it sounds like it's going to be really powerful themes. I really like this author's writing style, so can't wait to check it out. We also have Wahala by Nikki May. This was just released in January and I thought it sounded so fun and juicy. It says Three's Company, Four's Trouble. It says an incisive and exhilarating debut novel following 3 Anglo-Nigerian best friends and the lethally glamorous 4th woman who infiltrates their group. The most unforgettable girls since Carrie, Samantha, Charlotte, and Miranda. So Sex and the City vibes. It sounds like this is kind of like a mystery and juicy friendship drama. I feel like this is going to be really good. So I can't wait to check this one out. And this cover is so beautiful. We made it. We made it to the last book of this haul, and it is Fault Lines by Emily Itami. So this is a very short book, but it sounded so good, and I'm not gonna lie, the initial draw for me was that it's set in Tokyo, and I would love to read more books set in Japan. I used to live in Japan for 7 years, and it was the best experience of my life. I loved it there so much. So I would just love books to transport me back there and read more about the Japanese life and experiences. It says that this one is for fans of Sally Rooney and Helen Fielding, which regrettably I have not read either of them. I'm sorry. It is a witty, sharp, and moving debut novel that explores the imbalance of a marriage, the challenges of motherhood, and retaining a sense of self as a family builds around you. So really looking forward to this one. I think I'm going to love it. So that was it. Oh my God, we made it to the end. My throat kind of hurts. I need to go get water. So if you made it to the end, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye.